Today, I just want to quickly cover a project I've been following that I think is pretty compelling. And it's actually quite rare for me to find ideas or projects that I think will actually move the needle forward for fixing society. The Natural Law Institute is one of these projects, and it's an organization that is focused on law and fixing the United States Constitution more specifically. The Natural Law Institute was started by Kurt Doolittle, and it's an academic organization that has been reviewing and conducting research across a range of different areas like human cognition, cooperation, legislation, and social and economic policy. Kurt describes the project as the completion of the scientific method and its application to all disciplines, resulting in the natural law. On their YouTube channel, they've uploaded a load of content about what they're working on. They've got recorded talks from their conventions, as well as a growing number of Q&A sessions. And I've added a link to their website and also to some of the most noteworthy videos or playlists that I've watched so far. Originally, I actually found this content through another channel called exquofonte. No idea if I pronounced that right. On his channel, if you look at his video list, you'll find a video called The Pursuit of Happiness. The video and any video released more recently than that, I'd highly recommend watching. Some of the things that are covered in these two channels that I've shared in the description include things like the West's evolutionary strategy and why Western nations became so successful. And they compare the approaches that were taken by different civilizations, such as the implications of law, state, and religion. They talk about different approaches for governing a nation, and one of the diagrams that they've created is this political triangle. And this helps to compare and map out some of the different approaches that have been adopted historically. And across the videos, you'll find quite a few adaptations of this diagram that look at different topic areas in relation to this political perspective. Another thing I like about this team is they don't have any problems of talking about any particular topic, regardless of whether it's controversial or not. On their website, they provide links to any of the research they've read, and they focus on what the science says when thinking about how to structure and govern society. So you'll find they talk about differences between men and women, the masculine mind and the feminine mind, and how that impacts politics. They also discuss differences between racial groups, and that includes things like intelligence. Now, I've already made it clear in a previous video that I think intelligence is an important topic. It's something that we really should be able to discuss with complete transparency. And there are plenty of people online, including this organization, that agree with that approach. The Institute also talks about speech in the videos and the importance of truthful, reciprocal speech. Freedom of speech by itself can be extremely harmful. If you don't regulate speech in any way, it can end up creating an environment where people abuse their positions of influence and power. Scams, fraud, death, there are plenty of things that can happen due to the consequences of speech. Currently, the Institute hasn't released all of the suggested changes that it would like to make to the US Constitution. So I'm looking forward to eventually reviewing these changes once they're released. On the topic of economics, they don't have a lot of content on this area. And for what I've seen, I don't think they've had the time to explore and understand the importance of the solutions that I've covered in my own economic videos. So you're not going to find anything about land value taxes, deflationary demerge money, and temporary shares of ownership. But on the topic of law, and especially more foundational laws that are suitable for something like a constitution, I've not seen another organization that is actively working on this topic area like they are. So a question to answer is, how does this relate to other countries and more broadly to economics and politics? A universal and foundational set of laws that can create a comprehensive constitution is extremely valuable. And getting that right should make it easier to regulate any emerging economic and political systems, as well as new technology. So an improved constitution could be adopted by any country in the world, not just the United States. Or they might decide just to adopt parts of it. In either outcome, there's clearly a huge opportunity to improve the foundational laws that we use across society. And this is something that every society could adopt and benefit from. Now, I've only spent a moderate amount of time going through their content, and they really do cover a lot of areas and topics. Until they release a more formalized resource of their suggestions, I'm not saying that I endorse everything they say or do, of course. But what I can say is I'm really quite impressed with what I've seen so far and the caliber of the people involved in that organization. So for that reason, I highly recommend taking a look at their content, and that it's worth following what they get up to over the coming years. I do believe that they are working on suggestions that will be an important part of the solution for improving and fixing our laws and political systems. So once you've gone through some of the content, please feel free to tell me what you think.